Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream. I hope that you're all doing good. Tonight we are going to be hanging out for a couple of hours, and of course we're going to be doing our weekly Vara After Dark discussion stream. Listen guys, I love being a positive ass Polly, and I know you hear this time and time again. I would love to present positive news, but unfortunately tonight, I couldn't really find a lot of positive news. But, you know, there's always next week, and maybe during the stream you guys will point out a few great things that have happened. I can only do so much. So, before we get the stream started, hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Thank you Meta PCs for the $10 super chat. How are you guys doing? I don't know who technically runs the YouTube channel. I'm assuming it's Zach, but I don't actually know. But hi, hope your evening's going well, and thank you for the support. Hashtag Varaverse waifus. If there was ever a Varaverse, you guys know it would be filled to the brim with waifus, but there's no Varaverse right now. My cats keep... Okay, so Bilbo, Mr. Kitten, he keeps messing up the camera angle. And it's actually kind of getting annoying. He has not chewed any wires yet, but we know how that goes with cats. Cloud chewed like 50 cords of mine during his lifetime, which was very fun. But, you know, it's just the camera lately. He keeps messing up the camera, and that's okay. We still love Mr. Cat. So, guys, is the music a little loud? It seems a little loud. Is it just me? Probably just me. So, guys, tonight we've got a lot to talk about. Because my streaming schedule is actually going to be pretty messed up this week because, of course, Rings of Power launches. So tonight we are going to be talking about Mark Ruffalo calling for change to IMDb rating system following the She-Hulk controversy. Now, it's really no surprise to see a Hollywood actor getting mad that there is a system for users to rate a product, especially when that product gets rated by users. You know, when users actually use a system to do what they're supposed to do with it, they don't like that unless it's positive. So now Screen Rant, the media, and Mark Ruffalo are calling for this rating system to be changed simply because he feels like any products that he's part of should not be criticized. It's the typical Hollywood actor calling every critic, you know, a troll, a hater, a something or another. No surprise there, but we're going to be talking a little bit about She-Hulk. We are going to be talking about Pixiv. Now, this was a situation I hadn't heard of until today when I was looking for topics. I was looking through my social media, seeing what people tagged me in, wanted me to cover, and this was something that was a little bit depressing. Uh-oh. Sankaku Complex. If you don't know what Pixiv is, it is a website known for hosting illustrations and animations, and there is a lot of good artwork up there. Lots of artwork I would not be able to show on this channel, unless we want YouTube to ban me, which will happen one day. But they have decided that they have formulated a declaration. I can't say this with a straight face. A declaration of elimination of harassment. And a diversity and inclusion declaration. Now, you guys know I am all for diversity, inclusivity. I think that these things are great. I think that I have no problems with these things. But releasing a declaration of elimination of harassment just sounds a little bit silly to me. I don't know, like they came up with this big, nice long term, this nice list of things that they wanted to do, and, well, they slapped this big name on it, and now, of course, everyone is very worried what this is going to mean for the platform. It's kind of like a typical Hollywood move. Of course, Hollywood now wants 50% of these types of people behind the camera, and in some cases, oh, no men, no, you know, people with white skin color. behind the scenes, part of a project, you know, the classic inclusivity by exclusivity that we see happening. So we're going to be talking about that. We are also going to be talking about Resident Evil. Now, I talked about Resident Evil when it came out. I personally thought that it was just a very interesting situation. It was I'm just going to be honest, a very trash series. And I did cover this in a video a couple of days ago when it happened, but they have now canceled the live-action Resident Evil series on Netflix after only one season, and of course, like clockwork, Lance Reddick, the main star, or one of the main stars of the show, who really hasn't been in anything bad besides Netflix's Resident Evil series, has decided to dismiss criticisms, of course, as hate from trolls, dismisses critics of quickly canceled series as trolls and haters who never got what we were doing. So another classic Hollywood move. I wasn't really excited for this series leading up to its release. I was very worried about it. I was very skeptical when you take a amazing franchise like Resident Evil and you shove a bunch of new characters into it and you go with new storylines. Of course, we're all going to be worried. We don't think it's going to turn out good. I would have loved to have been proven wrong, just like with Rings of Power, right? I would love to be proven wrong. I would love for it to come out and for it to be absolutely amazing. I don't think that that is going to happen. Most of us don't really think that that's going to happen. But of course, instead of just saying, hey, we tried something we were proud of, we were hoping was going to be great, it turned out to be a disaster, and that be that. No, of course, they just have to write off criticism as hate. And, of course, the critics are just trolls. We are also going to be talking about Hogwarts Legacy. I've been talking about this game quite a bit, and primarily how the media has been looking at this game, because gaming journalists want to be activists, and they have tried their very best to cancel this game, cancel the developers, get people to just boycott this title. And there are still articles coming out titled things like 3 reasons to boycott the upcoming Hogwarts Legacy video game. It brings up, as well as its link to J.K. Rowling, the game is accused of anti-Semitism and was developed by a Gamergate defender, and this is too funny, I'm sorry, this is just clown world. There are outlets coming out saying things like gamers threaten to boycott it, but it doesn't seem like many people are threatening to boycott it because the collector's edition sold out in minutes yesterday when it launched. So I don't know who they're saying is boycotting this, but apparently not many people. So those are the topics that we're going to be discussing tonight. Welcome on in, everyone. I hope that your evening is going well. We'll get started with the topics in a minute, but how is everyone? How are you all doing? We live in a time where you literally are not allowed to criticize. Actually true, which is it's very just depressing overall. I think that obviously, yes, sometimes people can step from criticism into a realm and a land of hate. I'm not saying that no hate exists online and people are not toxic assholes online, because those people definitely exist. I mean, I would be lying to you guys if I said that those situations didn't exist. But I think that most of the time, you know, it's not that.
Resident Evil on Netflix was trash.
It
Glad
was.
It's canceled.
Yeah.
KUTGW Vara. Don't let up on their companies.
I don't know what that stands for, but thank you for the $3 donation. I really appreciate it. But yeah, again, I'm not saying that no hate exists online. There's always a few bad apples in every bunch, but you're not telling me that every single person who didn't like the Resident Evil series was an ist or a phobe, or every single person who is not going to like, you know, Rings of Power is going to be an ist or a phobe. It's just criticism, and people are allowed to criticize products. Yeah, I know you put a lot of time and effort and money into it, and there were people who were very happy with it and proud of the product they created, and I'm not trying to bring those people down, right? If you're proud of it, that's awesome. If you like these shows and like this content, you feel free to like it. Who am I to tell you to like something or to not like something? But to just write off any criticism as hate is ridiculous. Harry Potter fans are not torn. They just want to enjoy the story and not be focused on woke politics. I understand that there are people out there who dislike J.K. Rowling's stances, and you are allowed to dislike her stances. I mean, I've given you guys my thoughts on her stances before. I'm happy to again if I have to. But if you dislike her stances and dislike who she is, that's perfectly fine. But it's like the media wants so badly for people to boycott this game that they're demanding people boycott it. They're putting out articles listing tons of reasons why you should boycott it. And they're even trying to say that fans are torn and fans are boycotting it, when clearly that is not the case. I mean, if that was the case, the collector's edition wouldn't have completely sold out, and there wouldn't be so much positivity and excitement around this title. I just don't understand why, you know, why they think that it's working, right? They're allowed to say, I don't want to play this game, but to call for boycotts, I don't know. You guys know I've never really been one for boycotts. If you don't want to buy something, feel free not to buy it. If you do want to buy something, go for it. Everyone's allowed to be different and have different opinions, but I don't really think that boycotts really work a lot of the time. And I don't call for boycotts. I don't think I've ever called for a boycott of something. If you want to buy it, go for it. You're allowed to like it. I'm allowed to dislike it. The media hates you. Actually true, Mr. Waifu Taker. It is very unfortunate how much media actually does hate the individuals they are supposed to be creating products for. And it's like, if you look at the Hogwarts Legacy, sorry if you guys hear that. Mr. Bilbo is just tearing shit up over there. I don't know what he's doing. He's going whack. But if we look at something like Hogwarts Legacy, I mean, there was a developer on the project, an individual who was part of the project, Troy Levitt, who last year social media users were attacking and tried to get canceled because of his past with Gamergate, and he decided to leave the project. And even though he left the project, what, a year and a half ago, it is still being brought up. The media is still using that against this game and against these, you know, individuals who are now working on it. It's like, learn to just let it go. Like, this person is not part of the project anymore. They have distanced themselves from this individual. They've obviously distanced themselves even from J.K. Rowling, which I think is a problem. If you're going to use someone's creations, you shouldn't basically say, fuck that person. I think they're awful. If you don't want to support that person, you don't have to, right? But why are you working with their creation if you hate them so much, if you hate their creation so much? It's like, go create something yourself. But then it circles back to the conversation we have all the time, that these people do not have a single creative bone in their body, and they can't actually create anything new and unique and entertaining. And then we're just going to get on a rant. And, well, you guys are here for my rants partially, but, you know, it's just this never-ending circle. So, yeah. I want Vara as She-Hulk. There's no way I could ever be She-Hulk. I am not buff enough to be She-Hulk. Well, I guess, I mean, look at what they did with Natalie Portman as female Thor, Jane Foster, strong woman. I mean, they just gave her fake muscles, so, you know, I guess I could be anyone, huh? But I think that we're going to start with the Mark Ruffalo and She-Hulk controversy, because it's going to be a relatively quick topic, but I think that that's kind of what we want to start with. But yeah, how's everyone doing? Yeah, Pixiv has been infected by woke. We will be talking about the Pixiv situation. I've heard people call it Pixiv. I've always called it Pixiv. Am I pronouncing it technically wrong? Feel free to correct me, but I just call it Pixiv. Do you want me to spell it out? I don't know. Vara is actually ripped. She's just too humble to admit it. I guess the world may never know, huh? Vara can be a better She-Hulk. The thing is that the actress who plays She-Hulk, right, I don't think that she's a bad actress, and clearly her and Mark Ruffalo have very good chemistry together. Like, if they were not presenting us with just a trash story and this awful dialogue, I think that they could be an amazing fucking duo on screen. Like, they have some serious chemistry. But unfortunately, well, we see how the show is going so far. Maybe it'll end and be fantastic. We're only a couple of episodes in. Maybe it'll be perfect and amazing. So far, I personally am rather underwhelmed with the show. I have to say, House of the Dragon's kind of surprising me. I came into it with very low expectations, and I have been not loving it, but it's also not as bad as I thought that it was going to be. So yeah, why don't we get started with the first topic at hand, which is going to be She-Hulk. Now, this was not a project that I was initially very excited for, very hopeful for. I'm just gonna be honest. Hulk is very hit or miss in my opinion, and She-Hulk it's a cool idea, right? To have two Hulks at the same time, kicking ass together, maybe causing some problems together, growing together, becoming better individuals together. But as soon as the promotional material for this show released and we heard that it was going to have, you know, more feminist narratives, and they wanted to go into this, making this character a strong, independent female, and they were doing away with her origin story from the comics, and they just decided to create a new origin story for her, I personally stopped being so interested in this project. I just want them to follow source material, go with the original versions of characters, not fuck around with their origin stories and the way that they act, and that is what they did with She-Hulk. But now, because of course She-Hulk has faced a lot of criticism and a lot of people are very unhappy with the show so far, Screen Rant and Mark Ruffalo are calling for change to IMDb ratings system following the She-Hulk controversy. Forget Marvel is not entitled to good reviews for mediocre superhero content. So it says, in the mind of progressive ideologues, no one is allowed to have the opinion that the first episode of She-Hulk Attorney at Law was woke and derivative garbage. I had put up a video with a lot of my thoughts on episode 1. I haven't done like a standalone video on episode 2. Maybe at some point I will. At the end of shows going forward, I'm going to try to do more in-depth reviews with my overall thoughts, like She-Hulk, House of the Dragon, Rings of Power. I'm going to start doing more like probably 25-ish minute kind of wrap-ups with my thoughts, the things that I thought were good or bad, but for now I'm not doing like individual episode reviews, but I did give, you know, some of my general thoughts, and as the weeks go on, I have been talking about my general thoughts in, you know, live streams, videos, things like that, but I didn't find a lot to be excited for with episode 1 and also episode 2. I just feel like with this, they went into it really wanting to make a statement, which I understand. Some shows, some movies are going to have, you know, general themes that are very relevant to modern day, but they went into it basically saying, fuck this character's origin, fuck who they previously were, we're just gonna change everything about her. And they shoved so much feminist garbage in our faces. It instantly turned me off from the show. I am going to keep suffering through it, but I was not impressed with the content we initially got. Episode 2, not any better. I kind of have to agree that She-Hulk so far is not something that I've been enjoying. But it says the backlash to the Jade Giantess must-she series. I hate that, the MCU, a must-she series. I get the marketing here, I do, but it's just so bad. I don't like it. I don't know. I'm perfectly fine with seeing strong women in lead roles, but come on, could it just be a little bit less in our face? Can you just do it instead of go, look at us, we're doing women. We have women as the main characters. We get it, that's fine. But just put out the content. It says, earlier this week, a corporate shill site, Screen Rant, of course, issued a call to action demanding that the Internet Movie Database, IMDb, rig its users' voting system to disallow reviews of movies and television shows prior to their general release in order to combat negative reviews. Now, the problem that I had with She-Hulk, on launch day and leading up to the launch was the fact that you had sites like Screen Rant, calling for this action, yet this show has gotten kind of positive review bombed on these sites, Metacritic, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb. If you look at the reviews, there are just as many 10-star positive reviews as there are 1-star negative reviews. We're not just talking about only people with negative opinions of this show going on to review it. What about the positives? That's the problem, is that they would love for, you can rate it as long as it's over a certain number, like a 5 or above, but a 5 or under, or you can't leave the reviews early. It says, in a piece entitled She-Hulk's Review Bombing Proves IMDb's Biggest Ratings Problem, the site argued that the review bombing of She-Hulk with -1 and 10-star reviews, but particularly the former, unnecessarily clouds the picture of audience reactions for fans trying to determine whether to watch the series. This may ultimately drive users to seek different sources, damaging IMDb's credibility. I always say this, and I always will say this, while yes, I do talk about critic reviews and user reviews on the channel when content goes up, whether it's video games or movies or TV shows, whatever it may be, I do talk about those scores, but I always say, experience it for yourself. If you want to watch something, you should be giving it a chance yourself. If you want to play something, give it a chance yourself. While yes, these review systems do exist and you can go to them and leave your thoughts, I wouldn't skip out on something just because someone else says that it's bad. It says, the current IMDb policy leaves the LGBTQIA+ community, as well as women and BIPOC working in film and television, particularly vulnerable to unnecessary vitriol and harassment. As early IMDb scores become controversial, many outlets and fans look to either confirm the legitimacy of these negative assumptions or validate the excitement of positive assumptions without discussing the actual show on its own merits. And of course, later on, Mark Ruffalo decided to share this, saying the rise in bad faith IMDb reviews, particularly for projects led by women, POC, threatens to render the site's scores meaningless if the problem is not addressed. And he did get kind of roasted for it. A lot of people were going to the social media posts saying, listen, you just don't want your content to be criticized. You cannot accept the fact that people don't like the show that you're in or the content being put out by the company that you work for. And I do agree with that to a certain extent. While yes, again, obviously these people want the content they're in to be good because they want to come back for sequels and more projects and they want to keep getting hired for things. They also need to accept the fact that sometimes content is going to come out that people just do not like, and they need to learn, instead of calling everyone trolls and haters, to just breathe and accept the fact that, hey, not everything can be super loved and not everything can be, a 10 out of 10. And of course they want their shows to be that way. But it's kind of stupid, I'm going to be honest, to see such a giant actor like Mark Ruffalo put support behind something like this, because when that happens, his whole audience is obviously going, oh, maybe they should change it. And of course, it's not like Mark Ruffalo actually gives a fuck about people who would be affected by, negative reviews being left early and, ooh, maybe, you know, the bad faith reviews are hurting women's projects. He just cares because he's in it. I don't see him posting any other articles like this regarding any other movie or show that he's not part of it. He's just looking out for his career. So that's all that I really had to discuss with She-Hulk and Mark Ruffalo. Do I think that IMDb ratings systems should be changed? No, because anyone can leave a review. And like we saw with She-Hulk, there are so many positive reviews also going up to kind of combat the negative reviews. So I think that it's fair game. I mean, it's not like people who like the show can't leave a review. If either everyone can leave a review or no one can leave a review. I think that it really doesn't need to be changed. It's just another giant Hollywood actor getting upset that a project that he is part of is getting review bombed and that there are people who don't like it and that are calling them out on this content. So we'll see as She-Hulk continues to release, as the situation progresses. Maybe this show will actually get good. Maybe this show will be amazing by the time it's all released. But do I think that's going to happen? No. No, I really don't. I don't think that the show is going to be great. But we'll see. I'm watching it. I'm giving it a chance. And next chat, we're going into a very, very sad situation that a lot of people are very upset by. Do I want to... we'll briefly read this article. And then I'll go to Twitter and we will take a look at the thread. I kind of primarily want to cover users' responses to this situation. I don't know if I'll cover this in a video yet, but I at least wanted to cover it tonight. Hopefully everything will be fine. At least it's more interesting. What do you mean? Of course he doesn't care. He's getting paid from Disney to push this narrative. Oh yeah, of course. Of course. And I mean, hey, that's his job. I don't blame him for having that job, but I'm allowed to criticize him for the job that he decided to take in the stances he's decided to publicly put on social media. Something that he would like people to not be able to do. He doesn't want people to be able to criticize content. Because it just looks better for him if everyone shuts the hell up and doesn't say anything. Typical Hollywood. This is why I really do not like Hollywood actors. They're just so full of themselves. I don't know. Not for me. This is why I do not like Hollywood actors. But it is what it is. Alright, guys. So I guess we will move on to the next topic in a second. Let me check IMDb right now for She-Hulk scores, so I can give you guys at this point in time what they are. She-Hulk 2020. Ooh. Hey, don't play a She-Hulk ad on my stream. Okay, so the 1 stars are currently outpacing the 10 stars. But I know that a couple days ago it was the opposite. So right now it's sitting at a 5.1. Oof, that is not good. It is sitting at 58,000 reviews, it says. Oof. 21,000 1 stars. 13,000 10 stars. 3,200 9 stars. 4,800 8 stars. And then a couple thousand in the 2 to 6 range. I mean, I just think that people don't really like She-Hulk. I don't think that it's just people being negative and toxic and wanting to make a point. I think that people just do not like this content and they are rating it because they don't like it. I really don't think that it's anything more than that. But of course, the media wants us to believe otherwise. So I thought that I would show these. Yeah, 21,001 stars. Whew. That is a couple of 1 stars. They deleted 3 of my reviews. I haven't really seen anyone posting about deleted reviews. Just a lot of bot reviews. But it sucks to have to say this, but it doesn't surprise me that they'd be deleting reviews and flagging reviews. I mean, if you look at like social media, like on YouTube and Twitter, they hide responses, they delete comments, they try to make it look as positive as possible. And of course, that means censoring other people's opinions and trying to basically shut them up. So yeah, next we are going to move into a conversation about Pixiv. This is another topic that will be pretty quick, but I still did want to cover it. I saw a bunch of you tag me on Twitter about this, so I wanted to at least talk about it during a live stream. I might end up doing a video on it. I'm not sure right now, though. So it says, Pixiv might be the next Japanese site to succumb to diversity and inclusion, as the website has declared that it has formulated the Declaration of Elimination of Harassment and Diversity and Inclusion Declaration Policies. So, if you don't know what Pixiv is, it is a website known for hosting illustrations and animations of the most explicit sorts, mostly without discrimination, and is considered to be one of Japan's many sites where freedom of creativity is allowed. Those familiar with the nonsense of the Western Hemisphere probably know that diversity and inclusion are often buzzwords used as an excuse to carry out the acts of censorship or to put people in roles based on their skin color and not on their merit. Now, like I always say, and I will say this for the millionth time, I think that things like diversity and inclusivity are great, but of course, we see a lot of companies decide, you know what, we're going to go by this policy of inclusion by exclusion, inclusivity by exclusivity, which does not work. You cannot say, get rid of the cis people, get rid of the white people, get rid of the men to make way for these other people, because then you're just doing something with the different people that you were initially complaining about. It says, in accordance with the Declaration of Elimination of Harassment and the Diversity and Inclusion Declaration, Pixiv will take the following actions to create a safe working environment and build a highly transparent and sound system. This to me kind of reads like, hey, we've had a lot of complaints lately about our company and we don't want to get canceled, so we're going to try to make things look better now while we still can. It says initiatives based on the declaration. I'm not saying this anymore. It's the DEH, because I can't read that 20 more times. Review harassment prevention rules, compliance committee rules, disciplinary committee rules, and internal reporting rules. Regularly conduct training for all employees and managers on harassment. Offer training and education for employees engaged in whistleblower handling operations. This sounds very serious for an art website. Introduce a system of investigators independent of the compliance committee. Introduce a sensitivity training system. Okay. Clarifying and defining harassment-related topics in personnel evaluations. Organize a D&I promotion team to advocate for initiatives based on it. Conduct training for all employees to promote diversity in Okay, so conduct training for all employees to promote diversity. Implement training for managers on human resource and utilization based on D&I. And then, of course, they get into Within the next 3 years, commit to balancing the gender ratio among managers so that it reflects the ratio among company employees as a whole. And a lot of people are very confused why this is happening now, why they've decided to do this now. Again, like I said, a lot of people feel like this is a very, hey, we're preemptively putting out this statement and that we are working on the way the company is so that they don't get canceled. So that if any suspicious or bad information about their company comes out, they've basically protected their asses. Of course, going down to the comment section, a lot of people are shaking their heads, asking more questions, which of course they do not answer. Again, just a question, what if an employee feels harassed or offended by a piece of art on your site? Will that art be removed? I think that this is a great question that of course they did not answer, that they will not answer. Can't tell me an ESG funded company will keep I don't know if you say it lolly show stuff running. I don't believe you for a second. Hope the fanbox artists I follow migrate. Instead of hiring based on skills, you hire based on people's skin color and sexuality, and you dare call that an improvement. I have always said this. I think that anyone, no matter what they look like, should get hired for a job if they are the most qualified. At the end of the day, the most qualified person should get a job. And if you happen to be a woman, a man, a person of color, no matter what your background is, it shouldn't matter. If you are the best choice for the job, you should get the job. 100% accurate, woke. A state of awareness only achieved by those dumb enough to find injustice in everything except their own behavior. Oh my god. As you can see, they're kind of getting roasted. Meh, it's your funeral. Yeah, there are just a lot of people that are very, very upset over this situation. I just think that it's funny to see how absolutely roasted these companies get. Whenever you start throwing around words like diversity and inclusivity, people definitely look twice at what you're doing and the way that you're acting. Diversity enforcement equals whatever rules that an offended employee will enforce. Yep. Pixiv is on a fast track to becoming another garbage platform. Everything that tries to play ball with the West becomes a trash pile. It's so annoying. I am definitely worried about the content that is on their platform at this point in time. They haven't said that they're changing any content on their platform or what they're allowing on their platform, but when we start hearing changes like this, it definitely gets everyone thinking and worried about the state of a platform. So that's all that I really had to talk about with Pixiv. If there are any updates in the future, of course, I will let you guys know. But for now, that's all that we really had to cover with Pixiv. So yeah, if you guys have any thoughts on it, leave them in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer. Does that mean Pixiv is going full modern deviant art? Not currently, but a lot of people are worried that it is going to go in that direction. Safe. What the hell is going on over at Pixiv? Killer boobas? Maybe. Yeah, I do agree, Chris. It seems likely they will soon be censoring content and they will maybe put new content guidelines in place. But right now, there's no confirmation of that, so I don't want to get anyone worried in terms of content, but it definitely seems like that could happen. It is something that we may see. Thank you, Mr. Waifu Taker, for the super chat. I felt down and hopeless about news like this, but not anymore. There will be alternatives and pushbacks, and I should remain a gamer and a weeb, of course. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. Censor all those damn knees. I know, we can't have knees. Art? Knees? No, we can't have that. That is just outrageous. How dare you? How dare you even bring up knees in this conversation? I'm on Pixiv right now and it seems normal. Yeah, they haven't announced any content changes for now, and hopefully there will not be any content changes. We can hope. Everyone is definitely worried though, which I completely understand and I completely get. It is always very nerve-wracking to hear news about platforms that you like. Because, you know, like this. Okay, they're taking one step now, but what happens in half a year when they take another step, or in a year when they take more steps? But yeah, next we're going to be talking about Resident Evil. Chat, how are we all feeling about it? I'm sure you all are very heartbroken with the news. I'm sure you're all just sobbing over this. I did talk about this in a video, but there has been a bit of a follow-up, so I thought that we would first cover the initial cancellation, and then the, one of the lead actors at least dismissing criticism. I thought that we could start with the cancellation, since we haven't talked about it in a live stream, really. That's some bad news for them. Gee, who could have seen this one coming? She's devastated. Such sad. Yeah, guys. I know that I'm sure you all are just very heartbroken about this. I'm sure that you all are just crying. I've been crying for days. So, if you didn't hear, I can't even say this with a straight face, because who didn't see this coming? Resident Evil on Netflix has been canceled. I know everyone is so sad, so heartbroken, just so torn up about this, but this was announced a few days ago, if you didn't hear about it. Following in the footsteps of the streamer's bastardization of Cowboy Bebop, Netflix's live-action Resident Evil series has been canceled after just one widely panned season. I mean, I don't think anyone really liked this show. I think everyone expected it to get canceled. It says word that Netflix had gone for the headshot on their take on the video game series was first broken on August 26th, courtesy of Deadline. Coming just a month and a half after its premiere, according to the trade news outlet sources, the decision was made based on their discovery that the drama did not have a particularly strong showing on Netflix's top 10, and cost first viewing is the streamer's leading renewal criteria. I had talked a bit about Netflix and what they decide to continue and cancel when Cowboy Bebop came out, because Cowboy Bebop was apparently canceled when they saw the reviews. I mean, they canceled it, I believe, 3.5 weeks after the show premiered, and they decided to cancel it because the ratings were under a 70%, like user scores were under a 70%, but the show was at a 60 to a 65 at that point. I don't remember the exact number, but it was between a 60 and a 65, like on the day that they canceled it. And, of course, before that, it was lower, and then there were people giving it positive reviews so that it would maybe get renewed. But, I mean, when we saw that Resident Evil was sitting at, you know, a 40, 50, 60, it was getting very mediocre scores, I think that we all accepted that this was not going to continue, that they were not going to shove any more money into this. It says, as explained by Deadline, though Resident Evil debuted in the wake of Stranger Things' 4th season, Netflix had hoped the word of mouth would help contribute to an eventual surge in viewership for the fledgling action horror series. So yes, it is now canceled. They have decided they're not going to put any more money into it. They're not going to give it another season. They're done with it. It says, furthermore, another notable factor in its cancellation was the fact that it also failed to find any love amongst viewers, both those who were fans of the original games and those who went into the series blind. This was just such a bad show. It was, as someone who loves Resident Evil, I've loved the video games, I would love for there to be a fantastic TV series, but this was not it. There was nothing in this that I went, wow, this was fantastic. Wow, that was done beautifully. That was great. Honestly, it deserves the 27% audience score that it is sitting at. But of course, it wasn't as simple as that to the actors that were part of the project. We're hearing that they decided to cancel the show because it didn't hit the numbers they were hoping. It didn't stay in the top 10, series on Netflix for too long. It wasn't bringing in viewers. Of course, it wasn't bringing in new subscribers. But Netflix's Resident Evil star Lance Reddick dismisses critics of the quickly canceled series as trolls and haters who never got what we were doing. Now, Lance Reddick is a pretty great actor. He's been in a lot of fantastic things, and Resident Evil is really one of the only things that he's been in that has been bad. But he is not taking this cancellation lightly. He is very upset. Or maybe the people at Netflix told him, you should get as pissed off as you can. Who knows? But it says, according to the series star Lance Reddick, Netflix's Resident Evil was so widely rejected by both audiences, not because it was a poorly written bastardization of the original video game franchise, but due to the fact that the unimpressed were nothing more than trolls and haters who never got what we were doing. Of course, it's the typical, you're all just trolls and haters because you don't like the show. I'm sure that there were people who were going on social media making memes of this show because they wanted it to be bad, right? There are a few bad apples in every bunch. There were people who didn't want to give it a chance, who wanted it to fail, who wanted it to be bad. But we're talking about only a couple % of the audience that it had. Everyone else hated this show. Okay? It had very mediocre critic reviews. And if you look at the user reviews, there were not many 10 stars on, any of these websites, Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb. I mean, it's not like this show came out and it had this massive audience. That's why it got canceled. It's not just trolls and haters who didn't get what you were doing. It got canceled because even the people who went into it with an open mind didn't like it. If you liked the video games, there was really no way that you were going to like the show. And if you were new to it, I mean, I can't speak to this point of view because I'm not new to the franchise, but it seems like even the people who are new to the franchise didn't just view this as a show that turned out at least okay. It seemed like even the people who were new to this franchise were like, wow, that was a disaster of a series. I mean, it's not like they pulled in anyone from any group that was like, wow, that was really well done. I mean, nobody really liked this show. It says the actor spoke to his opinion on Resident Evil's critics in a video, saying, acknowledgements and thank yous. I did see this when it went up. He was just talking about how proud he was of the showrunners, his castmates, the executives. He was very happy with the product they created. Of course, when you're part of a project, you don't want to trash it. You want it to be successful. You want it to do good. You want it to be loved. And this show just wasn't loved, and it seems like he wasn't taking that very well. It says, as all of you are aware by now, our show Resident Evil on Netflix has been cancelled, before dismissively asserting, and the haters and the trolls notwithstanding, I want to give a special thank you to all the fans who watched the show, who got what we were doing and really loved it, because there are a hell of a lot of you. Well, there might be a hell of a lot of them, but apparently there were not enough of them. Thank you, Theater, for the super chat for the CA10. Lance, makes no sense. Trolls and haters wouldn't be responsible for the show's cancellation. It is the lack of viewers that would cancel a show. A long-standing show will have actual viewers. Actually true, though. Thank you for the super chat. Turning to the show's cast and crew, he continued thanking everybody, saying that he was just so proud to work with everyone, and he was happy with the content that they created, which is great. You know, be proud of what you created, but other people were not very amused with it. You might be one of the only people who actually liked it. Of course. Throwing further condescending words towards the series critics as he drew his message to a close, he added to the executives, our executive producer and the executives at Netflix who believed in the show and really loved it, and once again, who got what we were doing. We worked our asses off, we had a great time, and we made a hell of a show. Again, apparently it wasn't good enough to give it a second season. I'm not trying to laugh too hard. I am laughing that hard. This is fucking pathetic. It really is pathetic. I'm sorry. Just accept the fact that the show was trash and people didn't like it. Just accept it. Not everyone is a hater. Not everyone is a troll. Not everyone is an ist. Not everyone is a phobe. Sometimes content comes out that people just dislike. It's as simple as that. As per Deadline, Netflix reportedly chose to axe the series based on their discovery that the drama did not have a particularly strong showing on Netflix's top 10 and cost versus viewing as the streamer's leading renewal criteria. Though Resident Evil debuted in the wake of Stranger Things' 4th season, as the article mentioned, Netflix had hoped that word of mouth would help contribute to an eventual surge in viewership for the series. There was nothing good with the show. I didn't watch it and go, wow, this part is great or that's great. It's not like the visuals were fantastic or the acting was fantastic or the dialogue was great. All of it was just very bad. It says, yet this was ultimately not to be, as the series fell out of the streamer's top 10 rankings after just 3 weeks, never to return. Let me also open up Rotten Tomatoes so that we can see what the score is now. Resident Evil. Let me open it up. Right now it's sitting at a 55 to a 26. Well, it hasn't gotten much better, has it? Let's read just a couple of the audience scores. What in the world were they thinking? Honestly, that's how I kind of feel. Hollywood has not been able to give us a good Resident Evil project. I don't know why. I don't understand why. If maybe they just looked at the source material and followed the source material, they'd go, oh wow, we actually cracked the fucking code. Your videos are the best, thank you. Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. They took the title of Resident Evil, they took a diversity checkbox and undid everything. The show is almost unwatchable. Honestly, if they dropped the title and anything related to the games, then this might have been a halfway decent series. Lance Reddick carried my interest for some of the season, but honestly, I could not finish the final 4 episodes. I didn't think that he did a bad job. I thought he was okay, but again, it's kind of hard to see the positives when everything is so bad. Was a waste of time to watch it? Yeah, I've gotta be honest. I've got to agree with this reviewer. If you have not watched it yet, I really don't recommend that you watch it. It's kind of a giant fucking waste of time. There are many better things to watch. This show has the most annoying main characters I've ever seen on any show. She makes the show so difficult to watch with all the stupid decisions she makes. It's not good. Nice special effects. See, I didn't even really think the special effects were all that fantastic. I thought they were just meh. Like, oh yeah, we threw a bunch of special effects together so that we could finish this show off. A 5-star, holy, oh my god, Chad, a 5-star in the wild. That's crazy. It's one of the only. I gave up after the first episode. You don't see anything with writing that bad. Lance Reddick is a good actor, but I felt sorry for him here. That's the way that I feel, because he is a pretty good actor. I mean, this is one of the only things that he's been in that has been bad. The issue is everything else. If they had just followed the source material, they had put more notable characters in this series, they had picked a time frame, picked some kind of story that actually was good, I think that they could have created something here. Again, it doesn't have to have the most beautiful visuals. It doesn't have to have the most, you know, unique music or even dialogue, right? The dialogue just has to be not narrative based. If it had just had slightly better everything, I don't think that it would have gotten canceled, and I think that more people would have given it a chance. I think that they tried to do way too much, and they were so fucking cocky that they were not looking at the product that they really made from a consumer perspective. It's like everyone went into this project, was patting themselves on the back for the diversity, the narratives, and then, well, it all fell apart. So, yeah, that's all that I really had to talk about with Resident Evil. Classic Hollywood actor going on social media, and instead of just accepting the fact that people didn't like this show, he's decided to trash everyone who's criticized the series and has decided to write them off as trolls and haters. So, yeah, that's all that we really had to talk about with Resident Evil. Next, we're going to be talking about Hogwarts Legacy. Uh-oh. We're getting an ad. An HBO Max ad? For the Lord of the Rings trilogy? Excuse me, it's on HBO Max? Oh, Amazon's not going to be happy about giant Lord of the Rings trilogy ads. Right around the time of Rings of Power. So yes, next we're going to talk about Hogwarts Legacy, and there is quite a bit to talk about with Hogwarts Legacy. We have a couple of different articles to reference. The Holbitses. Physical copies are better than streaming, to be honest. I mean, I 100% agree. I do. Quickly, chat, before we move on to the next topic of the evening, if you're enjoying the live stream, make sure to give it a like. If you're not, give it a dislike. Consider donating via Streamlabs. All donos pop up. $3 or more text-to-speech activates. Become a member via YouTube memberships. And yeah, just support the channel. But primarily, give the stream a like. Check out links in the description. And the pinned comment. But thank you for being here. Based HBO Max saying we have the better movie. It is kind of a Chad move. I mean, at first I saw Lord of the Rings, so I figured, oh, it's gonna be a Rings of Power ad. It's gonna be like Lord of the Rings in big text and then Rings of Power right underneath. And then I looked to the right, I'm like, wait, what? And then I noticed, it's for good Lord of the Rings, not Amazon's bullshit. You should try Tower of Fantasy, Vara. No, it's censored. I'll pass. They're also releasing the Lord of the Rings trilogy in theaters in the next few days. I couldn't find anywhere near me that was doing that. You'd think Boston, right? There'd be some kind of theater in Boston. Nope. I couldn't find anywhere. Maybe I wasn't looking hard enough. Lord of the Rings trilogy in Theaters 2022. I don't know. I was not able to find it. It made me sad. Harry Potter is a dead franchise? Then why did the $300 collector's edition for this game sell out in minutes? That doesn't make sense. You either see the Lord of the Rings trilogy extended versions or not at all. I 100% agree. Yeah, I had seen people talking about that on social media, but I couldn't find anywhere near me, which made me very sad. Because I would swipe my credit card for that. You bet your bottom dollar. Harry Potter is done to death. While yes, I think that there is a lot of Harry Potter content, I don't think that it's a dead franchise. I mean, clearly, projects with the Harry Potter name are still selling relatively well. These boycotts make me want to buy the game even more. Well, the media is trying to say that there's boycotts, but clearly there's not much of a boycott going on. Maybe all of these game journalists would like you to believe that there's a giant boycott going on, but I don't know. Judging by these pre-sales, there's not that big of a boycott going on. Or if there is a boycott, those people are not many in number. I don't know. I mean, if you feel like you should boycott something, you go for it. But I will be purchasing Hogwarts Legacy. Or I will be playing Hogwarts Legacy, I should say. It has already been pre-ordered, but I will be streaming Hogwarts Legacy at launch, and I will be playing it. And I'm looking forward to it. So guys, I've covered Hogwarts Legacy a couple of times on the channel. It's been a topic that I come back to every once in a while, every couple of weeks to couple of months when there's news surrounding it. Of course, there's been a lot of outrage surrounding this game by the game's media because, of course, J.K. Rowling. Okay, they hate J.K. Rowling. They want her canceled. They want her career ruined. And some of them have even threatened her. Not in the games media, but just general media. We've seen some crazy stories. But we got some new footage of Hogwarts Legacy, and they put up the collector's edition pre-orders for this game that comes out in a couple of months. And the media is trying to say there's this giant boycott that's going on for this title. You know, here are some clear reasons why you should boycott the game. Yet, apparently not many people are showing up to boycott it, as the collector's edition sells out. So let's start with this article by Game Rant. It says, drawing from the widely popular franchise J.K. Rowling started with her first Harry Potter novel, Hogwarts Legacy is a game that partly distances itself from the Wizarding World's classic settings. Hogwarts Legacy takes place in the past, which could provide fans with a unique chance to experience a different world compared to that of the books and their movie adaptations. Still, the recently delayed game has been stirring multiple controversies since it was announced around Quidditch, the cost of Hogwarts Legacy's Collector's Edition, or J.K. Rowling's political views. I wouldn't purchase the Collector's Edition. I like Harry Potter. I think that Harry Potter is cool. Am I in love with Harry Potter? No. If I could only watch one franchise for the rest of my life or experience one franchise for the rest of my life, it would not be Harry Potter. I would not pay $300 for a collector's edition of this title, but I am purchasing a base copy of it. I will be streaming it. I will be fairly reviewing it. But as it says, Rowling has been in the eye of the storm in recent years due to her repeated transphobic comments on social media, something that LGBTQIA plus individuals and trans people specifically, highlighting even in the books and other Harry Potter related media. Now, I know that J.K. Rowling is controversial. There are people who hate her, there are people who simply dislike her, and then there are people who absolutely love her. It is hard for me because J.K. Rowling many years ago did go woke, right? She changed backstories of her characters to appeal to the woke mob. She did change content so that she could get in with the crowd, so that maybe her content would sell better. That was something I didn't like, and something that, yeah, you know what, I don't think that she should have done. And now, those very people are the ones who want to cancel her, who are saying she's not doing enough and are saying, fuck you for having your own opinions. So it is hard for a lot of people, I get that, to defend her, to want to talk about her, to want to support her products. Yes, she did try to appeal to these people. Now they're eating their own kind alive, even though she's not really their kind anymore. But you know what I'm talking about. It is definitely something with J.K. Rowling I do not like, but ultimately she still should be allowed to have her opinion, which is why I talk about her. And ultimately I would purchase this game because it's just a new AAA video game that people are very excited about, and I like Harry Potter. It says Hogwarts Legacy was also associated with specifically anti-Semitic accusations when it was revealed that the main villains of the game were goblins, a species in the wizarding world that is being depicted as evil for wanting freedom. For these reasons, many are advocate for people. Okay, game journalist, maybe you could type properly. It's supposed to say, for these reasons, many are advocating. Jeez, that took a lot of thought for people to boycott Hogwarts Legacy ahead of launch. It says her political opinion. Okay, so this doesn't even fucking talk about the rest of the shit, right? This is like an article that is just a hit piece against J.K. Rowling. They literally wanted to write a hit piece on J.K. Rowling. They, at the beginning of this article, say that people also want to boycott it because of Quidditch and the cost of the collector's edition, yet this article doesn't fucking talk about that at all. This is just a giant hit piece against J.K. Rowling and her opinions. It says her opinions ended up tainting the franchise for thousands of ex-fans given she made comments regarding the rights and freedoms of transgender people, and then doubled down after being reprimanded online. Actors from the Harry Potter saga started to speak up about the issue, stating that trans women are women and trans men are men, no matter what the person who started the franchise says. I talked about this in a video, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the actors have come forward and basically said, fuck J.K. Rowling. I mean, even Emma Watson she said that she would come back to the franchise if J.K. Rowling had nothing to do with it, which of course is fucking absurd because it is her franchise, it is her creation. If you do not like J.K. Rowling, that is fine. You are allowed to dislike her opinion, but to wish she wasn't part of her own franchise, that basically she got her own creations ripped away from her, that's just pretty fucking disgusting. Straight up, that is just terrible. They're her creations. She deserves credit. Okay? What is so hard to understand about that? We're talking about someone who claims to be a feminist, right? Emma Watson is a feminist, yet she is advocating for a woman's creations to be ripped away from her and to be given to someone else. How fucking absurd does that sound? Pretty fucking absurd to me. But this is another article. 3 clear reasons to boycott the upcoming Hogwarts Legacy video game, as well as its link to J.K. Rowling. The game is accused of anti-Semitism, which, can I just say, I haven't seen any accusations of anti-Semitism specifically surrounding this game. I haven't seen anyone come out and say, this game is anti-Semitic. Yes, there have been arguments in the past that, oh, you know, the goblins. Oh, we can't have those anymore. We have to cancel her work because of the goblins. But I haven't seen anything specifically around this game. And it also brings up, and it was developed by a Gamergate defender. Oh my fucking god. I need a shot every time I hear the word Gamergate, because you'd think in 2022 I'd never hear this fucking word. All I hear of still to this day is Gamergate, okay? I can't with Gamergate anymore. There was an individual, a developer, who was part of this project, who was a, as this article describes, a Gamergate defender. Someone who simply stood by Gamergate for what it was supposed to be, which was about ethics in gaming journalism. But he left the project a year and a half ago, at least a year and a half ago at this point. He is no longer part of this project. So why are you still fucking bringing this up? This individual is not part of this project anymore. So you should stop bringing it up. That is not an argument to boycott it. That's not a reason to boycott it because this person isn't part of it anymore. And this is just too funny, because of course the media wants everyone to boycott this title. Harry Potter fans torn over this boycott. Well, they don't seem very torn to me, because the collector's edition had sold out amid boycott threats. Well, that's all they are apparently, are just empty threats, because people are still showing up to pre-order this game, to pre-order these special editions, and people are still very excited over this. It doesn't make a lot of sense how you can say in the same sentence that fans are torn when clearly they're not. It says Hogwarts Legacy is one of the most anticipated releases for, I'd say, the ending of 2022. However, the Harry Potter community has vocally been divided on the upcoming title, with many calling on gamers to boycott it altogether. You can call for people to boycott it, but I don't think it's working. With pre-orders for the collector's edition of the game selling out in minutes, the debate is now more rampant than ever. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. That doesn't seem like a very successful boycott to me. Minutes. Not hours, not days, not weeks. Minutes. The reason for fans wanting to boycott the game is due to Harry Potter's author and her history of public transphobic comments that she has continued to double down on. I mean, she's got her own opinions. She's got her own stances. She's allowed to have them. It's not like she's going on social media telling her followers to attack certain people or, you know, fight against certain people or to say disgusting things about people. She has said her opinions, which you are allowed to disagree with. But it's not like she's calling for hate. It's not like she's calling for violence. It says in the last few years she has come out and spoken openly and candidly about the trans community, her comments hurting many for being outwardly transphobic. I don't think that those people have thought about how much they've hurt her, though. I mean, she has been... Her addresses have been doxed, have been put online pictures of her doing just daily things in her house, and her addresses have been put online. That doesn't seem very fair to me. It says as a result, the Harry Potter brand, as well as its legion of fans, have done everything in its power to distance from the author. Now, with Hogwarts Legacy set to release in 6 months' time, the Harry Potter fanbase is torn on whether or not to support the game. You can't claim that the fanbase is torn when there are thousands and thousands of people who fought for only minutes to purchase a copy of the collector's edition that sold out. Bitches be crazy. On one hand, Harry Potter fans are speaking out against her comments. Again, it is fine if you dislike her comments, if you do not agree with her. But to dox someone and put their addresses online and to send them death threats is a whole other thing, which is what is happening to J.K. Rowling and anyone who supports her. It says, To add to this, others are bringing in the separate the art from the artist discussion as a way to show support for the game without directly supporting Rowling and her statements. I mean, it's her franchise, so no matter what you do, if you simply talk about this game on social media, you're kind of supporting her in a way, because you're just getting more attention on the product that is being released. Even if her name isn't slapped on it in 50 places, it's still her creation, so she's still getting funds by it. It's like, I think it's hilarious how people go on social media, and this was like a trend, where they were burning copies of her book. You still had to buy that dipshit. You are one stupid motherfucker, okay? Yeah, you can burn her book. You still had to buy that shit for like $20. And we're not talking about people who are using, like, used copies. We're talking about people who literally went to the store and bought a copy of a book just to put up a TikTok. You still bought that. That is still $20 in her pocket. Which I think is kind of funny. It says, Twitter users went on social media to voice their opinions. There are many reasons not to buy Hogwarts Legacy, but here's a new one. It would be really funny if Warner Brothers lost money on this one too. I don't like Warner Brothers either. For Harry Potter fans who are eagerly anticipating this release, they are voicing their fears of being called a piece of shit for wanting to buy the game. Some then challenged others by asking if they boycott other big parent companies who are similarly shrouded in controversy. Longtime Harry Potter fans are also highlighting how a person's attachment to the series from a young age isn't something that should be held against them. That those who decide to buy the game shouldn't immediately be labeled as enabling her transphobic agenda. So, yeah, right now there is according to journalists, a lot of controversy surrounding this game. And of course, there are people who are gonna run around calling us disgusting individuals for purchasing this title, for wanting to play it, for wanting to support it. I will be streaming it on launch day because it's a AAA release. I try to give a fair chance to all the products I talk about on the channel, and I'm not afraid of being called a piece of shit simply because I purchased a video game, even if J.K. Rowling did create the universe. So yeah, guys, those are the main topics we had to discuss tonight. If there's any that you want me to discuss, feel free to put them in chat. I also think that we're going to be quickly talking about Saints Row, just because there's been a lot to talk about with Saints Row lately. There hasn't been anything over the past few days, but I'm sure that we could still chat about the user scores for a few minutes. How is Emma Watson relevant outside of the Rowlingverse? Oh, she isn't. She is not. Emma Watson is completely fucking irrelevant. The only reason why she has a career in Hollywood is because of J.K. Rowling's creation, and she should be grateful. I'm just being honest. I do not really like any of the Harry Potter actors. They were good in Harry Potter, but outside of that, they weren't really good in anything else. Daniel Radcliffe has been in, like, one or two other half-decent things. Rupert Grint, I believe his name is, who played Ron. He hasn't been in anything. Emma Watson, she was in live-action Beauty and the Beast, which was okay. That's another franchise, or another story that they decided to fuck around with and put a bunch of modern shit into, even though it's a fantasy. But, like, she was okay. And then, like, none of the other actors have been in anything else. So, I mean, none of those actors really went anywhere after that. Which, hey, I mean, they made enough money to live out the rest of their lives, and that's fine. Good for them. But it's gonna be a yikes for me. Without J.K. Rowling and her creation, you would be a nobody right now. Sit down and be humble. Holy. Yeah, Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, all of them made millions because of her. They all became millionaires because of her creations, and they should be grateful. They are allowed to say, I don't agree with her stances, but it is what it is. But to call for boycotts of her products, to Emma Watson, a self-proclaimed feminist, literally came out and said, I will be part of Harry Potter when they take away her creation from her. When somebody else is dealing with Harry Potter, when she is no longer involved in the stories that she created, that's when I'll be part of it. Sit down, okay? Why would you ever say that? You want a woman's creation to be ripped away from her because you don't like her opinions? Yikes. That is weird. Ungrateful bastards. I completely agree. Woman in Black was okay. Daniel Radcliffe. Movies. What else has he been in? I mean, of course, Harry Potter. We don't need to talk about Harry Potter. The Lost City? No. Swiss Army Man was good. Horns bad. Jungle bad. Kill Your Darlings. What is that? And then everything else he's been... Woman in Black was okay as well. And then everything else was mediocre. Emma Watson movies. Let's see what else she's been in. Wow, like absolutely nothing. She was in Little Women. Didn't the new Little Women reboot get absolutely fucking ratioed? Wasn't that hated? Perks of Being a Wallflower was... That was right after Harry Potter, correct? Either way, there was that. A movie in 2017... 2 movies in 2017, and that's it. Like, these people did not go anywhere else, and without J.K. Rowling, they would not be famous actors. Better known for Twilight? Who was in Twilight? None of the main stars of Harry Potter were in Twilight. Right? Emma will find out just how immediately replaceable she is. She is a very replaceable actress, and I thought that she was fine in Harry Potter. I liked her, don't get me wrong. But that was years ago. Over 10 years ago. It was, what, 10 years ago when the franchise ended, right? Well, the movies that she was in, at least. The main Harry Potter series. Deathly Hallows Part 2 release date. Yeah, 2011. I don't know. Just gonna be a yikes from me. She's no Daisy Ridley. Ah, we love Daisy Ridley around here. Oh, did you guys hear about what Fuckface said? How he was proud of The Last Jedi? Hold on, I gotta bring up Twatter. Ryan Johnson proud. That is truly inspirational. If Ryan Johnson can be proud of The Last Jedi, you can be proud of literally anything. You can be proud of pouring yourself a cup of water today, guys. This is so ridiculous. He's even more proud of Star Wars The Last Jedi now than he wasn't released. Ay, oy. Ooh, I don't like using the word cringe, but that's a little cringe. Ooh. Love that for him. I'm glad. He's so proud. Yay. Woo. Who's fuckface? You guys knew who I was talking about instantly. Robert Pattinson. Oh yeah, Robert Pattinson was in like one movie though, as a side character. Well, I mean, Cedric Diggory was an important character, but he was in one movie. And like, he wasn't just the main star. But he was in Goblet of Fire, which was the best Harry Potter movie, may I add. The best one, by far. I think it was impossible for any of us to approach Star Wars without thinking about it as a myth that we were raised with, and how that myth, that story, baked itself into us and affected us. The ultimate intent was not to strip away. The intent was to get the basic, fundamental power of myth, and ultimately, I hope the film is an affirmation of the power of the myth of Star Wars in our lives. Can you speak English? The final images of the movie, to me, are not deconstructing the myth of Luke Skywalker. They're building it. They're him embracing it. They're him absolutely defying the notion of throw away the past and embracing what actually matters about his myth and what's going to inspire the next generation. So for me, the process of stripping away is always in the interest of getting something essential that really matters. Hold on, guys. I gotta take a nap real quick. I mean, I'm even more proud of it 5 years on. When I was up at bat, I really swung the ball. He's very proud of himself, which I guess if you're not proud of your creations, no one else is going to be proud of your creations. But if I was Rian Johnson, I would not be talking about The Last Jedi anymore. I would have buried it and never looked back. I would have walked away from it as fast as I could have, and I wouldn't have talked about it again. So he's very proud of it. Goblet of Fire is the best book and movie. Goblet of Fire was awesome. I agree. I think that Goblet of Fire was the best book and the best movie. I have to agree, TNN. That was just the shit. Visually, Goblet of Fire... Let's talk about the movie. Visually, it was stunning. The music, the actors chosen, and there were a lot of main actors in Goblet of Fire. They were all cast perfectly. Goblet of Fire was so good. The pacing was also perfect. Oh, that was just so good. And the book was fantastic as well. Even though the books are, you know, more for younger adults now, I remember reading that for the first time and being so impressed. I was like, this is entertainment. But, well, we don't get new entertainment anymore. We just get trash. The movie went off a cliff like Luke's lightsaber. Oh my god, spoiler alert! Some of us haven't seen this movie, and if you haven't, you totally should, because it's the best film ever created. Prisoner of Azkaban was actually pretty decent as well. Maybe it's time for a reread of the Harry Potter books, but I'm gonna be honest, I think that after reading them for the first time and watching them for the first time, I don't ever really need to do that again. Yeah, Goblet of Fire, it did slap. That to me was the best. I mean, definitely Hallows was cool too, because you saw a lot of storylines come together and wrap up, but Goblet of Fire was just the best, and you can't convince me otherwise. But yeah, if you guys have any topics you'd like me to discuss, or questions, let me know. Chat, this week, the rest of the streaming schedule is going to be kind of fucked up. Because usually, I live stream on Thursdays, as you guys know. Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays. But this Thursday, at 9 p.m. Eastern, Rings of Power launches. So usually Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm live streaming, playing video games. But this week, Rings of Power comes out at 9 p.m. Thursday, and 2 episodes are coming out. And obviously, I want to watch them because I've talked a lot about Rings of Power. I've said I'm going to watch it. I'm going to give it a chance. So on Thursday, that is what I will be spending my evening doing so that I can make a video and talk about it on Friday. But yes, no stream this Thursday. We will be back to streaming on Saturday, playing some more Bayonetta 2. So that'll be back on Saturday. But Thursday, I will not be streaming because I'll be watching Rings of Power. I am going to give it a chance, obviously. I mean, I've talked all about it. I've said I'm going to watch it, and I am not going to back down from that now. Since Demi Lovato. Out in a reverse? Put in a reverse, you mean? Do you think E. Page will follow suit? No. So I think that Demi Lovato has always been very wishy-washy. So, yeah. I don't think so. Demi Lovato does a new thing every day. Yeah, no stream on Thursday, but I have to watch Rings of Power. Thank you for your sacrifice, Vara. No problem. I'll do my best. Ay. Rings of Power, huh? I can't believe it's already time for it to release. How are you all feeling about House of the Dragon? I have liked it. I think that there are some big problems with House of the Dragon, like the fucking time jumps. Episode 1 starts, episode 2 is 6 months later, episode 3 is like 2 years later. Okay? The time skipping is way too fucking crazy. I get it. They need to tell cool, epic stories, but there's too much of a fucking time jump in this first season. That is a major L in my opinion. But so far, it's been pretty good. Vara will need to bring out the peanut butter whiskey for Rings of Power. I need to bring out something for Rings of Power. But House of Dragon has been pretty decent so far. I've enjoyed it. Do I think that it lives up to the first season of Game of Thrones so far? No. But it's enjoyable. Obviously, I'm not giving my full thoughts on it until I've seen it all. But I definitely think Rings of Power has some major competition. Oh my god, I love Matt Smith. Listen. I know that Matt Smith in House of the Dragon is just the worst guy, right? He's a Littlefinger, Cersei, Joffrey thrown into one. I would die for Matt Smith. I'm sorry, I'm gonna simp. I'm sorry, Matt Smith is just... yeah, he might be the worst fucking villain in villain history. I do not care. I would die for that man. But I've actually been kind of underwhelmed with his character. I know that right now, at least, he's not super in it. Like, obviously, we've seen him in the first 2 episodes, and we're going to see him in every episode. But I feel like we need more of him. I hope that he's got a shit ton more screen time in this first season. Because I don't want to give any spoilers to the books, but I don't think the giant conflict that he is part of is going to happen in this first season. I really don't think that it's going to. Maybe it will. But the giant conflict, again, I don't want to spoil anything, so that giant conflict I don't think is going to happen until like season 2 or season 3. But Air for a Day, I cried laughing. I must admit, I was laughing so hard I cried. Air for a Day! Oh my god, sitting in a fucking brothel. Oi, that was, honestly, that is peak entertainment for me. That was so good. Matt Smith slaps regardless of his character. Oh, I 100% agree. I don't think I've seen Matt Smith in anything I didn't like him in. Then again, he's not that actor that throws himself at every fucking project under the sun. Yeah, I don't want to spoil anything, but the big conflict, I don't think that's going to happen. I also don't think the romance with him and you know who is going to happen either. I think that obviously they're putting those elements in place, like the necklace and the look that he gives her in episode 2, but I don't think that that's going to happen. I do know that they obviously changed to the older actors because there's such a big time jump. Like right now, it's episode 1 to 6 are the younger versions of Rhaenyra and Alicent, and then episode 6 to 10 are the older actors. But I don't think that we're going to get the romance with him, and I don't think that we're going to get the major battle and conflict with him this season. Yes, House of the Dragon is based on a book in the series, yes. House of the Dragon. It's actually funny because in the main Game of Thrones TV show, in season, I think it's 3, when Joffrey and Marjorie are getting married, he's walking her through the streets of King's Landing before she goes and sees the poor orphans. He actually gives a major spoiler to House of the Dragon. He talks about Rhaenyra's fate. He says, I don't remember what episode it is, but when it's the episode where they're walking through the streets with each other, he points down to a crypt or down a path or whatever, and he's like, that is where this happened with this character. I'm not going to spoil it in case you don't remember and you don't want to remember. But in the actual, I mean, if you look at Princess Shireen in Game of Thrones, she was constantly talking about the dragons and Rhaenyra and that massive conflict, but it was, I guess, you know, years ago, they kind of figured that they were going to go in a Targaryen way, and that's why they added so much of that lore into the main show. So, yeah. Matt Smith was brilliant in Morbius. I wasn't a big fan of Morbius, but again, I mean, he was just a side character. I thought he did fine, though. I mean, it's not like he was a main character or anything. I miss Shireen. She is, to this day, I cannot believe. I don't even want to talk about Lady Shireen. I can't fucking believe how they did that to her character in the show. In the book, Stannis would have done fucking anything for her. He would have been like, that is it, witch lady, go fuck yourself. But in the show, when he sacrificed her, I will never forgive. I will never forgive and I will never forget. People now are like, how could they do this to Daenerys? How could they give her this misjustice? I cannot believe that they would do this. I will not forgive them. Fuck you. Okay? Who cares about Daenerys? We have other characters who were fucked over. Like Lady Shireen, okay? That is not what I will forgive them for. That was the moment I knew I didn't like Dumb and Dumber. Man, that is not okay. Why not simp for me, Vara? Jared Leto. Jared Leto looks like a soy boy. Sorry. Just gotta be honest. But yeah, I'll be wrapping up stream in about 10-15 minutes, guys. So if you have any topics, let me know. Any questions, let me know. If you're enjoying the stream in the chat, make sure to give it a like. If you're not, give it a dislike. Consider donating, becoming a member. Check out the links in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you for being here. I liked Daenerys, because obviously she was a main part of the show. But it's just, looking at the last season, how fucking fast they rushed everything, it just made no sense. It was just so terrible. Like, in episode 3, they have her defending Winterfell, defending the people that she loved, and then fucking 2 episodes later, she's burning millions of people alive. It was stupid. Mega hot take, Leto's Joker wasn't that bad. That is a mega hot take. Honestly, Chris, you deserve to get your wrench taken away for that. But I will be a kind ruler today and let you keep your wrench, but never utter those words in this chat ever again. Chris, listen, that is a take you end up on the wall for, okay? Do not say that. Okay? You are going to get Ned Starked with a comment like that, okay? Be careful. Because that is just not okay. I will never agree with you with that. That is a terrible take. Worst take you've ever had. Just the worst one. That's just the worst. Thank you for hearting both of my super thanks on your Saints Row videos. Yeah, I usually like once a week go through the super thanks because there's not a lot of super thanks since I feel like a feature YouTube doesn't really promote. But when I see a super thanks, I usually heart them. So thank you for the super thanks and for supporting. The wall, you're gonna end up on the wall. Do not ever say that again. In other words, Vara's story arc will eventually turn evil. I am Varadark, not Vara Light. That is... Okay. You know what? We're gonna put up a poll. We're gonna put up a poll. Is Leto's Joker good? Yes? No. Is Jared Leto's Joker good? Let's see. Truly. I want to know. What is a super thanks? So on a YouTube, here, I'll show you. On a YouTube video, you can, it's basically a super chat, but for a video. So let me open, here, let me open like yesterday's video. So on videos, as you can see, next to the like, dislikes, share, download, thanks, clip, you can click show support with super thanks, and it's basically a super chat, but for videos. It was implemented a couple of months ago. That's right, chat. I knew you guys were men of culture. That's right. Everyone better say no. 17% said yes, 83% said no. Chris, you are losing this one. His Joker was entertaining? Nah, it was trash. It was so bad. It was an abomination. Usually I say I respect your opinion, but your opinion is just wrong. It's just wrong. How could you say that? I'm being bullied again? No. You're not being bullied. Everyone could have voted yes. It could have been an 81% yes to an 18% no. It wasn't Vara rigged the election, clearly. Did any of you purchase Saints Row? I obviously did not. Glad I didn't, with the terrible scores that it's getting. Glad I didn't waste my freaking money on it. I expected it to be pretty bad, though. I didn't think that it was going to be good. Not gonna lie, Vara's a bully. Not a bully. You guys is just, sometimes you have the wrong opinions, and that's okay. I'm here to lead you on the right path. Did anyone borrow Saints Row? I didn't even borrow it. I didn't. Oh my god. It's not even worth borrowing. I didn't know I spent money on actually good games. Sitting at a 2.2 at its lowest. Let's read the positives. Hey, doesn't deserve all the hate. The internet loves to follow trends and hate games that have a buggy launch. So what do you want us to do? Just say, who gives a fuck about the bugs? I have experienced very minimal issues on PS4 Pro. I bought this game at launch, and I've been playing it since and enjoyed it. I was a huge fan of the first 3 games. Not a fan of the 4th? No mention of the 4th? It's okay. I was a huge fan of the first 3 games, and to me, this was a return to form and everything I would have wanted from a reboot. This could have been a prequel. It gets so close to the environmental atmosphere of the first game, despite it taking place in the desert. The church headquarters is awesome. I despise how whenever a developer tries to do something, they get hate. I hope the Saints stick around for more. I mean, okay. I mean, this doesn't really tell me at all what you liked. It's you just defending the developers, but okay. As a fan of Saints Row games, I genuinely like this one too. First of all, the game has very few bugs on it. That is an absolute cap. I've encountered only minor glitches, nothing serious, so people who claim the game is broken have not even bothered to play it. What? That is a ridiculous claim to make. Secondly, the game looks good on PS4 Pro. Polish is still needed here and there, but overall the visuals are pretty pleasing and way better than, say, Cyberpunk had at launch. Gameplay is solid, main missions feel polished, some side activities still need polishing though. That's a lot of polishing. $60 to have a game that's not polished? That doesn't sound very good. Game is also pretty big. After 15 hours or so, I've started my Criminal Imperium and have barely scratched the surface of the puzzles and collectibles. All in all, I'm very happy with the game, and I'm sure to be happier when the remaining glitches... Wait, I just thought you said there were not many glitches. That's suspicious. Do not listen to the haters. This is a solid game. Sure, the intro part takes ages to play through, but once the good old Saints Row action starts and you start unlocking the familiar activities around the map, that's when the good times start. Check the PC version. Let's look at the positives. We're going to be positive Polly. Score 69 from professional reviewers? Be sure to take. What does that mean? The best game of the year or even 5 years. Whoa now. So I have a problem with that for two reasons. The best game of the year, this is better than Elden Ring. And the best game of the past 5 years also. You're saying that this is better than Elden Ring? No, see, I do not believe you. You are a shill. You're giving it a 10 and you're saying it's the best game of the past 5 years? No. Do not believe you. Failed Cyberpunk? Failed Cyberpunk? Or with classic GTA remasters. Before that, the remaster game did not reach the level of Mafia 1, but it did not try. And after such game... Okay, this is just literally a show. This is just a show. I'm not reading any more of that one. Game is great. Don't believe all the hate out there. Co-op is tons of fun and gameplay is tons of fun. Haven't experienced that many bugs either. AI is weak, that's for sure, but the game is fun. That's the point, I think, in the end. Okay. I mean, hey, these people are allowed to have their opinion. I just massively disagree. You're not telling me that this is better than Elden Ring. The game is very good. Not perfect, but the hate it's receiving seems to be from people that wanted this game to be something it's not. A GTA clone / competitor. What? That's all Saints Row has ever been. Saints Row was made to be a GTA competitor. What are you talking about? So you are mad at people for wanting it to be what the franchise previously was? How does that make sense? Ay. If you enjoy a lighthearted and wholesome story, then this is the right game. What is lighthearted and wholesome? Talking about student debt and arguing over waffle makers and if you're driving a hybrid? That's not very wholesome to me. I just finished it and wouldn't mind playing it again. It's fun and not that hard on medium settings. It's got a great choice of music, which I think has something for everyone's taste, as every game has its bugs and performance issues. But I didn't encounter... Okay, so my problem is that you're giving it a 10, but you're acknowledging the fact that it's got bugs and performance issues. That it doesn't deserve a 10. Ain't perfect, but the game is really good. It isn't perfect, but you're giving it a 9? That's not a solid way to start out a review. It's really good if we are comparing it to the last two Saints Rows we got. I heard there's a couple of bugs there and there, for my part. I got some, but nothing making the game unplayable, and don't listen to all those haters doing bad review score. But if there's bugs and glitches, then it doesn't deserve a 9. Best game of the year, people are hating for being woke, which it actually isn't. It is not better than Elden Ring. No. Even if you like it, there's no way you can say it's better than that. There's no way. I don't understand what people were expecting from this game. I don't know, a game with a decent story, interesting characters, and not being broken at launch for $60? I mean, it's really not that hard to impress people. There's a few key features and mechanics from previous games missing: human shields, running takedowns, etc. A heartless story with a forgettable... What? A heartless story with forgettable characters that make you cringe harder every line, and some bugs. Huh? Why are you giving it an 8 then? Yeah, it's shit, but it's a 10. This guy literally gave it an 8, but they're saying that it's missing key features from other games. It's a heartless story with forgettable cringe characters. But they're giving it an 8. Huh? Huh? Wow. I don't know. I'm just not buying what they're selling. Great. Great, 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 times like 20 more and a 10. That definitely seems like a very real review if I've ever seen one. Gee golly, that honestly seems like a very awesome review, and I am going to purchase it based off of this score. Anyway, well, chat, it has been a very fun evening of hanging out for a couple of hours. This game is broken, unplayable, 20 out of 10, actually, what these people are doing. Like I said, I will not be streaming on Thursday because I will be watching Rings of Power, but we will be back over the weekend on Saturday with a stream. I didn't upload a video today, but I did upload videos yesterday, and of course I will have new videos up tomorrow. But I will be wrapping up this stream in just a second. I mean, guys, clearly this game is just great. According to good game, well played, ZZ. But, yeah, I'm gonna wrap up stream here. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you for the donations and for the support. If you enjoyed, on your way out, make sure to give the stream a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike. Check out links in the description. Follow me on social media: Twitter, Minds, BitChute, Odyssey, Getter. Join the Discord server if you have not already. We are very active there, and of course I do tag you all when I go live in case YouTube doesn't notify you of the live streams. But yeah, I had a bunch of fun with the topics tonight, hanging out with you guys, and streams will be back on Saturday. Thank you all so much for stopping by, and have a fantastic evening, everyone.